My friend's betrayal pushed me to seek revenge and expose the boyfriend who stole Innocence, destroying his family's reputation in public. My best friend's boyfriend, Derek, stole her innocence in a way that broke her spirit completely, leaving invisible scars that ran deep and changed everything about how she moved through the world. Then, my other close friend, Ashley, betrayed us in the most heart-wrenching way, laughing with him on FaceTime, her voice laced with a dismissiveness that stung like salt in a wound as she called Mia so dramatic and just trying to get attention. When I confronted Ashley about selling us out, her eyes glistened with crocodile tears, but a shaky, almost defiant smile crept across her face as she said, "Derek promised to marry me if I helped him." Her words hit like a gut punch, echoing in my mind, and I stood frozen, unable to form a response, the air thick with unspoken rage. That was 8 months ago, a wound still raw and festering. This morning, Ashley stood shivering outside my apartment door, her mascara-streaked face twisted in desperation, begging me to testify on her behalf, as if she hadn't single-handedly shattered our friendship and left us all reeling. It all began at our monthly sleepover at Jenna's cozy apartment, a sacred ritual where we escape the grind of college life, drowning our stresses in clay face masks, chilled rose wine, and Love Island blasting on her flat-screen TV. The air was thick with the soothing scent of lavender masks and acetone from fresh manicures, fairy lights strung across the ceiling casting a soft, warm glow over our makeshift fort of blankets, pillows, and scattered snacks. For the first time since Derek's assault, Mia was laughing genuinely, her voice bright and melodic as she mocked the show's over-the-top drama, her eyes sparkling in a way that made us all breathe a collective sigh of relief. It felt like we'd gotten a piece of her back, even if just for that night. I slipped into Jenna's bedroom to grab my phone charger, navigating her cluttered floor littered with clothes and books, when I heard muffled giggling from the closet. Curious, I nudged the door open a crack and saw Ashley, her phone glowing blue in the dim light. On FaceTime with Derek, her expression relaxed, almost conspiratorial. "She's being so dramatic about the whole thing," Ashley said, her tone casual but laced with cruelty. "Like, okay, maybe you were a little forceful, but calling it that? She's just after attention." My stomach twisted into knots, a cold sweat breaking out across my skin, hands trembling like leaves in a storm. I fumbled for my phone and hit record, capturing Derek's smug, affectionate voice. "I miss you, my love. I'll see you soon." Heart pounding in my ears, I backed out quietly, nearly tripping over a pile of discarded shoes and fired off a frantic text to the group chat, excluding Ashley and Mia, bathroom. Now, emergency. We crammed into Jenna's tiny bathroom, the mirror fogging from our heavy breathing, the fluorescent light harsh on our masked faces. I played the video, and Kendra's fists clenched, her knuckles white, her voice a low, furious growl. "That freaking traitor!" Priya cut her off, her thumbs scrolling furiously on her phone, her brows furrowed in concentration. "Wait, shut up. Look at this." Derek's mom had posted about a charity gala for their family foundation, 3 weeks away. A black tie affair dripping with Boston's high society. Crystal chandeliers, tuxedos, and old money mingling under gilded ceilings. "He thinks he's untouchable," Tiana said, her dark eyes narrowing with a mix of anger and determination. We exchanged glances, a silent plan sparking like electricity in the air. "Mia's going on a spa weekend," I said, my voice firm despite the adrenaline. "Jenna, Kendra, take her. The rest of us say less." Mia deserved a moment of peace, away from the shadows, and we needed time to plot our revenge, to make him feel the weight of what he'd done. Over the next 2 weeks, we dove into research like it was a final exam we couldn't afford to fail. The Harrison family was beyond conservative. Their foundation preached traditional values and proper young ladies. Their Instagram a meticulously curated gallery of events where women wore floor-length, high-necked gowns, not a sliver of skin or modernity in sight. So, we hit a boutique to buy the exact opposite, our shopping spree fueled by righteous fury. Carmen held up a red dress so scandalous it was mostly cutouts, held together by sheer audacity and a prayer, the fabric clinging in all the wrong or right places. "Perfect," I grinned, adrenaline pumping through my veins. Tiana snatched a silver sequin number with a slit climbing to her hip, the fabric catching the store lights, like liquid metal, promising heads would turn. My dress was black, backless, and so bold it would have made Derek's grandmother clutch her pearls in horror. Our heels were 6 inches minimum, sharp as stilettos, and tall enough to make us tower. "I literally cannot walk in these," Priya laughed, wobbling across the store like a newborn deer on ice. "Practice, babe," Carmen teased, tossing her braids over her shoulder. We've got 2 weeks. We stalked Derek's socials, Instagram stories of frat parties, Twitter rants about cancel culture, even his old Snapchat memories. Memorizing his frat brothers' names, his class schedule, his late-night habits. We'd pose as his study group friends from his wild freshman year, a group his family wouldn't know but couldn't dismiss without causing a massive scene. The night of the gala, we got ready at Tiana's apartment, the air electric with anticipation and a hint of nerves. Makeup brushes flew, mascara wands clashed, and the mirror reflected 5 women transformed into weapons. Bold red lips, smoky eyes, and dresses that screamed defiance and power. The room smelled of hairspray and perfume, laughter mingling with serious reminders. "Remember," Tiana said, adjusting her dress to emphasize her curves, her voice steady, "we're his fun friends from school." 2 Ubers dropped us at the Fairmont, where the valet's jaw hit the pavement, his eyes wide as saucers as we stepped out, the cool night air brushing our exposed skin. Walking into that ballroom was like stepping onto a battlefield disguised as elegance. Chandeliers glittered like distant stars, a string quartet played delicate, classical notes, and women in modest gowns clutched pearls, their stares sharp and judgmental as we strutted in, heels clicking like gunfire on the marble floor. "We're here for Derek Harrison," I announced to security, my voice loud enough to turn heads across the room. He told us to find him. The guard, a burly man in an ill-fitting suit, looked confused, his eyes darting but waved us through, intimidated by our unyielding confidence. Derek stood across the room with his parents and Ashley, who wore a navy dress so conservative it screamed Harrison approval, her posture rigid. His face went pale when he saw us, his champagne glass frozen mid-sip, bubbles catching the light as they rose. We click-clacked across the polished marble floor, owning every step, the quartet's music fading into the background. "Derek!" Tiana called, her voice dripping with fake sweetness, loud enough to echo off the high ceilings.
"Baby, you didn't tell us it was this fancy."
His mom's mouth fell open, her diamond necklace glinting as she clutched it tightly. His dad's face turned beet red, veins bulging on his forehead. Ashley looked like she might faint, her hands twisting the hem of her dress, her eyes wide with panic. "I'm sorry, who are you?" his mother asked, her voice sharp as ice, cutting through the quartet's melody like a knife. "Derek's friends from school," I said, slinging my arm around him, his cologne overwhelming, his body stiff as a board under my touch. "Right, Dee?" I don't," he stammered, sweat beading on his forehead, his eyes darting for an escape. "Don't be shy," Priya laughed, tossing her hair, her earrings sparkling under the lights. "Remember that Sigma Chi night, showing everyone those pictures?" Carmen chimed in, her voice playful but pointed, her smile wicked. "The ones of that girl, what was her name? Started with an M." His dad stepped forward, his voice tight and authoritative. "There's been a mistake." "No mistake," Tiana said sweetly, her smile a weapon honed sharp. "Derek invited us, said you'd love to meet his party girls." More family members gathered, his grandmother in a velvet gown, her walker creaking, his sisters in pastel dresses, aunts with pursed lips and crossed arms, all staring, their whispers like static in the air, spreading like wildfire. "Derek's always talking about y'all," I said to his mom, leaning in close enough to see her perfectly applied makeup crack. "Especially when he's drunk. Gets so emotional." Carmen added, "Remember when he cried about that girl? Said he felt so bad but Daddy would fix it." Ashley tried to pull Derek away, her hands trembling, but Priya stepped in front of her, all charm and blockade. "Oh, you're the new girlfriend? Did he tell you about us?" The crowd swelled around us, rich people feeding on the drama like vultures at a feast. Derek finally spoke, his voice cracking under the pressure. "I don't know these people." Tiana waved her phone, her manicured nails catching the light. "That's weird, because I have so many texts." Security moved in, their radios crackling, but his grandmother, frail but commanding with a lifetime of authority, raised a hand. "Let them speak." His dad grabbed Derek's arm, hissing through clenched teeth, "We're leaving." The whispers erupted into a low roar, the kind that follows a scandal and lingers for years. As we left, an older woman dripping in diamonds, her perfume sharp and floral, approached us, her eyes piercing through the crowd. "That boy hurt someone, didn't he?" she asked, her voice low but insistent. We nodded, the weight of the night settling. "How bad?" "Hospital bad," I said quietly, the words heavy. That night, Derek lost his family's respect, their social standing cracked like fine china under pressure. Daddy's money kept him free, but the Harrison name was tarnished, whispers following them like shadows. When we told Mia, she sat on Jenna's couch, her eyes distant and unfocused, then cried, her tears soaking the cushions in silent waves. She went quiet for a month, retreating into a shell we couldn't breach, her texts sparse, her presence a ghost. Then, one night, she sent a group text, a photo of a pregnancy test with 2 pink lines and Eric's name typed beneath it, the image stark against the screen. My heart sank, my stomach twisting like I'd been kicked hard. I texted, offering to come over, but she replied instantly, her words curt. She needed space to think. The group chat exploded, everyone typing at once, the notifications buzzing like angry bees, except Ashley, who'd been silent since the gala 3 weeks ago. Kendra sent links to Boston clinics, her messages urgent and practical. Priya researched Massachusetts laws on pregnancy and assault, her texts filled with legal jargon and links to resources. Tiana drafted long, heartfelt messages, then deleted them, her typing dots a silent scream of frustration. 3 days later, I couldn't stay away any longer. I drove to Mia's apartment on Commonwealth Avenue, the city's noise fading as I circled the block 3 times, nerves jangling like loose keys. Her Honda sat untouched in the lot, its tires collecting dust and leaves, her blinds drawn tight against the world. I left 2 bags of groceries, fresh fruit, granola bars, her favorite iced tea, at her door with a sticky note scrawled in blue pen, "We're here when you're ready." 4 days later, Ashley reappeared in the chat, her message popping up like an unwelcome ghost, claiming she didn't know Derek's true nature and had dumped him after the gala, her words dripping with false sincerity and regret. Kendra wasn't buying it. Her response swift as she posted a screenshot of Ashley's Instagram story from yesterday, the Tiffany necklace Derek gave her gleaming against her collarbone in a beach selfie. The chat went dead silent, the betrayal hanging heavy like fog. 2 weeks later, Jenna called an emergency meeting at her place excluding Ashley and Mia. Without Mia's laughter, the room felt hollow, the fairy lights dimmer, the air stale. Priya pulled up Derek's Instagram on her laptop, him at lacrosse practice, grinning with his frat brothers at parties, his stories full of beer pong and late-night adventures, his life untouched, as if Mia's pain was a footnote he'd erased. Days later, Mia texted, her message simple, she needed a ride. She stood outside her building in a massive BU hoodie, drowning her slender frame despite the 70-degree heat, her eyes hollow and shadowed. She gave me an address for a medical building in Brookline, her voice barely above a whisper, her gaze fixed on the ground. The drive was silent, her hands folded tightly in her lap, the city blurring past in a haze of traffic and skyscrapers. At the clinic, the nurse asked how far along 8 weeks, Mia said, her voice flat, like someone else was speaking through her. The doctor, an older woman with kind eyes and graying hair, confirmed the pregnancy and outlined options with gentle precision: continue the pregnancy, pursue adoption, or terminate. Mia's hand, ice cold and trembling, gripped mine so tightly I felt her pulse racing. She left with a folder of pamphlets and a warning not to wait too long for certain choices, her face unreadable, her shoulders slumped. That evening in my car in the dim, echoing parking garage, Mia broke down, sobbing so hard her body shook, her gasps echoing off the concrete walls. Between sobs, she revealed Derek's family lawyers had contacted her parents, offering money for her silence. Her church-going parents, who'd raised her to save herself for marriage, now knew everything and pushed her to keep the baby and take the cash, their voices heavy with shame and practicality. 3 days later, I moved into Mia's apartment. She wasn't eating unless I cooked for her, her fridge empty except for stale yogurt and wilted lettuce. She sat on her couch, staring at a stack of legal papers from the Harrisons, $500,000, medical expenses, and relocation anywhere, as long as she never said Derek's name publicly again. The 40-page NDA was a gag order for life, its language cold and binding, the weight crushing her spirit. Meanwhile, Kendra, through pre-law contacts at Northeastern, learned 3 other girls from Boston colleges had filed complaints against Derek, all dropped after sudden Harrison Foundation scholarships, the kind nobody could trace or question. 2 nights later, Ashley showed up at my dorm at midnight, mascara streaking her face like black rivers, hands shaking so badly she dropped her phone with a clatter. She pushed past me, collapsing on my bed, saying Derek was threatening her to stay quiet, his messages a constant barrage. I opened QuickTime to record, pretending to check emails as she rambled about being scared and trapped. Then she slipped, mentioning Mia's pregnancy and morning sickness, information we hadn't shared with anyone. I kept my face neutral and asked how she knew, she stammered, claiming she assumed, but her eyes darted away, guilt flashing. I saved the recording to 3 places and texted the group, minus Ashley, my fingers flying with fury. 3 weeks later, at 3 a.m., Mia texted, needing me urgently. I threw on sweats and drove to her apartment, finding her on the bathroom floor, clutching a pregnancy test, her face pale under the harsh light. "I'm keeping it," she whispered, her voice breaking with resolve. Something beautiful should come from something horrible. We sat on her bedroom floor, eating Ben & Jerry's Chunky Monkey from the tub, the laptop glowing as we scrolled adoption websites until the sky lightened with dawn. The group rallied. Jenna made a color-coded doctor appointment schedule, her planner skills unmatched. Kendra researched top Boston OBGYNs, sending links with detailed reviews. Priya organized a meal train, ensuring Mia had home-cooked food from us all. Ashley, absent, posted Instagram stories from Derek's family's Cape Cod mansion, captioning them "summer vibes" and "blessed." The Tiffany necklace still around her neck, her smile forced. Tiana built a Google Doc timeline, meticulously charting Ashley's lies about being scared of Derek, each screenshot a nail in her coffin, the document growing like a case file. 2 weeks later, I was walking to my car after an evening class. The campus quiet except for the hum of streetlights and distant laughter, when Derek and 2 lacrosse buddies blocked my path to the parking garage. "Mia better sign those papers, or things get complicated for you all," he said, his breath hot and sour, grabbing my arm hard enough to bruise, his grip like a vice. I slipped my phone into my pocket, hitting record just in time to catch him boasting about his dad's connections. Judges, cops, university boards. Campus police dismissed my report, the officer's bored tone shifting to concern when I said Derek's name, questioning if I'd been drinking when I showed the purple marks on my arm, his skepticism thick. I left furious and called my mom's lawyer friend, who advised daily bruise photos for evidence, her voice calm but urgent, reminding me to timestamp them. 5 days later, Jenna's social worker sister connected us to a secular pregnancy support group, a safe space for women without religious or political judgment. Mia agreed to one meeting, gripping my hand in a community center as a woman shared her adoption story, calling it her hardest and best decision. Her voice steady but emotional, resonating with Mia. Mia's eyes welled up, her fingers tightening in a silent acknowledgement. That week, Priya borrowed Ashley's laptop for a statistics assignment and found a deleted folder. Screenshots of our group chat, Mia's appointment cards, my class schedule, and pregnancy details forwarded to Derek with notes on our plans. At an emergency meeting at Jenna's, Ashley sobbed, claiming Derek promised marriage after graduation and hurt her too, pulling up her sleeves to show oddly placed bruises. Kendra stood, her voice sharp as a blade. "Those don't even look like someone grabbed you. Your story keeps changing every time." Ashley's excuses unraveled, her betrayal laid bare in the tense room. Mia's morning sickness hit like a relentless storm. I skipped morning classes to hold her hair back, bring ginger tea, and sit with her on the cold bathroom floor as she made dark jokes about Derek's baby making her suffer, her humor a shield against the pain. We cried together, her pain a weight I couldn't carry but refused to leave, our tears mixing on the tile. A week later, Derek's mother arrived at Mia's in a black town car, her designer suit and perfume screaming wealth and entitlement. She sat on Mia's thrift store couch, offering $750,000 and a house to disappear, calling it generous for girls like Mia, her tone condescending. I recorded from the bedroom, the door cracked as she pressed, her words like velvet-covered steel. Mia stared at the check, her hands shaking, then tore it into tiny pieces, scattering them in the trash, her defiance a quiet roar that filled the room. Tiana's IT cousin set up an encrypted cloud for our evidence, recordings, texts, screenshots, documents, with timestamps for court, explaining chain of custody like a professor in a lecture hall. We worked until 4 a.m., organizing folders by date and type, our eyes burning but focused, coffee fueling us. Mia joined a hospital support group. The leader, Sandra, a retired attorney with a warm but fierce demeanor, gave her a card, recognizing her trauma from cases she'd seen before. 3 days later, Ashley begged to meet, claiming prep school dirt on Derek. At a downtown Starbucks, with Priya 2 tables away pretending to study, Ashley looked awful. Dark circles, jittery hands, admitting Derek's parents paid off a girl to transfer after a party assault. Priya and I found Emma, who'd left Derek's school junior year, but she blocked our Instagram message after reading it, her profile vanishing. 4 days later, Mia's first ultrasound broke her. The heartbeat filled the room, a steady thump that made her sob, unable to hate the innocent life tied to her trauma. I held her for 20 minutes, her tears soaking my shirt, the tech giving us privacy. The next week, Derek argued at the clinic about father's rights. his voice loud and entitled, triggering Mia's panic attack so severe an ambulance took her to the hospital, sirens blaring. Sandra, visiting, spotted illegal clauses in the Harrisons' offer, her legal mind sharp as she pointed them out. I moved into Mia's apartment, our routine a fragile shield, morning tea, prenatal vitamins, campus walks like bodyguards, always bracing for the next blow, the air heavy with unspoken fear. Kendra tricked Ashley at coffee, finding a recording app with our group's conversations. 2 weeks later, Mia's parents arrived after another Harrison offer. Her dad lectured on forgiveness, his Bible-thumping voice grating. Her mom whispered about church gossip, her eyes darting with worry. Mia threatened police. They stormed out, the door slamming. That night, she detailed Derek's assault, charming at first with flowers and dinners, then violent, holding her down despite her pleas at his apartment. I held her, her shaking body breaking my heart, her voice a whisper I strained to hear, the details searing. 5 days later, Emma messaged Priya, scared but ready to talk. We drove 3 hours to a diner near her college, the neon sign buzzing, the smell of coffee and grease filling the air. Emma's hands trembled as she described Derek assaulting her at 16 at his parents' house. They paid her parents $200,000 for silence. She transferred schools, signing NDAs. She gave us Sophia's number, warning of the Harrisons' ties to judges and police, her voice low as if they might be listening. By week 9, Mia's bump showed when she stood sideways, her hand lingering on her stomach, her eyes blank with contemplation. She chose adoption, dreading her parents' reaction. We found an agency letting her pick the family. At 2 a.m., Ashley called, sobbing. Derek threatened to leak her nudes. She wanted to help us, her voice desperate and broken. Sandra filed a restraining order. The judge, her former colleague, granted it after reviewing the evidence. We celebrated with champagne at her office, the bubbles a brief relief from the storm. At a strength party at Jenna's, Ashley hid a bruise, her eyes avoiding ours, the tension palpable. Derek's frat brothers left liar notes on Mia's car. Sandra saved them for a harassment case, photographing each one. Sophia, on an encrypted call, detailed Derek's pattern, targeting vulnerable girls, love-bombing with gifts, assaulting, then acting normal. She shared bruise photos and diary entries, her voice steady but pained, the entries dated and detailed. At counseling, Mia wrote a letter to the baby about her love-driven adoption choice, her pen trembling, which I stored in my desk with our evidence. Harrison lawyers sent cease-and-desist letters to our families. My dad, a contractor, feared ruin. His voice panicked over the phone. Jenna's parents threatened to pull her from school. Kendra's mom drove 3 hours to yell in person, her face red with anger. Ashley gave me her phone with recordings of Derek bragging about overpowering Mia, saying she asked for it, plus screenshots of him planning to drug girls at parties. Mia met the adoptive parents, a couple trying for 8 years, their suburban home warm with hope and empty nurseries. They cried, promising monthly photos and truth-telling, easing Mia's heart as she imagined the child's future. Derek's frat brothers cornered Tiana and Priya in the library, dumping Priya's backpack, taunting about liars not being safe. Priya's Instagram livestream went viral, exposing Sigma Chi guys, comments flooding in support. Sandra's lawyer ally said our evidence supported a civil case, but criminal charges were tough due to Harrison connections. She suggested a media campaign with her news contacts, her strategy meticulous. Mia's second trimester eased her sickness. We shopped for maternity clothes at Target, laughing when she couldn't button jeans, her smile a rare gift amid the chaos. 5 days later, my dorm was trashed, my laptop with evidence stolen, books scattered, drawers emptied. I'd backed it up to the cloud, thank God. More girls reported Derek's assaults. One grabbed at a party, another drugged, 3 from his high school shared. Similar stories, their voices trembling over the phone. We logged them in a spreadsheet, dates and names organized. Ashley gave me a flash drive with her Derek files, texts, photos, confessions, and moved home, texting, make him pay, her final message a mix of regret and rage. The university threatened Mia's suspension for absences despite doctors' notes proving her condition. Sandra's ADA lawsuit threat stopped it cold. The Boston Globe's Rachel met us at a coffee shop, her folders thick with Harrison Foundation financial cover-ups, money trails hidden in donations. She recorded our story, her eyes gleaming like she'd struck gold, her notebook filling with notes. Mia felt the baby move, crying at its reality, her hand pressed to her stomach, the flutter a reminder of innocence amid horror. Derek's dad cornered me outside the student union, his cologne and cigarette stench choking, threatening my sister's safety with veiled hints of accidents. I recorded him, Cameras were broken, but Sandra used the audio for a protective order granted for our group after a tense hearing. The adoptive parents showed Mia their yellow house's green nursery with elephant decals and soft toys. She asked if they'd tell the child she loved them. They promised daily, tears streaming, their hands clasping hers. The Globe's article on Harrison cover-ups went viral, tanking their stock 3%, headlines blaring. Derek was suspended from lacrosse, his jersey stripped. 5 prep school survivors shared stories of payoffs, their voices eerily similar, their pain echoed in Mia's. Sandra planned a class-action lawsuit, her office a war room. Mia sobbed about her stolen body. I ran her a lavender bath, bubbles foaming, sitting outside the door reading funny tweets until she laughed softly. The sound of victory. Derek's victim-blaming podcast, claiming post-Me Too hysteria, sparked outrage, his defenders dwindling. But survivors' CNN and MSNBC interviews, hospital records, therapy bills, texts, shifted the narrative, their courage inspiring. #BelieveSurvivors trended, posts flooding. The DA opened a criminal investigation. Mia's grueling interview, detailing every moment, triggered panic attacks, her vomiting in the parking lot, me holding her hair. Mia's medical records leaked on Boston Unispill, sparking harassment, slurs, fake GoFundMes mocking her. The university's Title IX probe banned Derek. His frat protested with false accusation signs, their chants echoing. At 17 weeks, Mia's ultrasound showed hiccups, the screen flickering. She gave the gender envelope to the adoptive parents. A couple trying for 8 years, their hope palpable. Ashley's Title IX testimony, with Derek's confession recording, shook him, his face paling as it played 3 times. The adoptive parents attended ultrasounds, their tears mingling with gratitude, the heartbeat a shared miracle. At week 18, Mia's victim impact statement took 6 hours, 2 wine bottles for me and a box of tissues, her hands shaking as I typed her dictated words, each sentence a reclaiming. Derek's arrest for 3 assault counts, filmed at the student union amid his frat brothers, went viral with 20,000 views. Comments cheering karma for rich boys. The Harrisons' PR spun Derek as a victim, with his mom's tearful podcast and blog pieces about revenge accusations. But survivors' evidence prevailed. Mia, visibly pregnant, switched to online classes. We set up her study space with a desk, good lighting, and a white noise machine for focus, the hum soothing her nerves. At week 19's bail hearing, Derek's polished suit failed to impress. Bail was $500,000, paid instantly by his family. Sandra sued the Harrisons for distress. They countersued for defamation, the papers flying. Survivors sent Maya a care package with soft blankets, tea, chocolate, and a 5-star necklace, each star a bond of solidarity. Derek violated bail with a 4-hour baby note. Cops did nothing, claiming he didn't deliver it. Mia didn't sleep for 3 days, checking locks hourly, her fear palpable. At week 20's scan, the adoptive parents cried at the baby's face on the screen. Mia gave them all photos, her smile bittersweet, the room filled with quiet emotion. The trial was set post-due date, a cruel blow. The system's delay feeling deliberate. Derek's expulsion felt hollow compared to what he deserved. Mia wrote journal letters to the baby about adoption, sealing them for the future when the child might seek answers. Week 21, the Harrisons sought grandparent rights. Sandra blocked them, citing assault and emergency motions. A local paper exposed their payoffs. The Attorney General investigated. Their name toxic in Boston society. At Mia's glucose test, the baby's movements made her laugh, whispering, "You'll tire out your real parents." The nurse's sad smile understanding the unspoken. A brick with lyre crashed through Mia's window at 2 a.m., glass shattered, Mia shaking as I dialed 911. We moved her to Priya's cousin's cabin, a small haven in the woods, the drive silent but for her soft sobs. The adoptive parent's lawyer vowed to fight the Harrisons, her experience a shield. I stayed with Mia knitting yellow booties, watching old movies on a grainy TV, her hand always on her belly, our talks wandering from fear to hope. Week 23, Derek's dismissal motion failed. The judge upheld the trial amid news trucks and activists holding signs, Mia gripping my hand in the courtroom, her bump hidden under a loose sweater. Derek's podcast defending canceled men backfired as survivors' interviews dominated, their stories on national TV turning the tide. Week 24, the Harrisons offered $2 million, therapy, and a lesser plea. Sandra warned the system favored the rich, her voice grave. Mia rejected it after 3 days of lists and calls to survivors, wanting Derek to face a jury, her resolve steel. Survivors pledged to testify, their group chat a lifeline of encouragement. Week 25, Derek's arrest for witness tampering, paying to threaten Emma, revoked his bail, his parents' faces crumbling in court. The adoptive parents' yellow nursery with star ceilings felt like fate, Mia smiling through tears. The university launched the Thompson Initiative for Assault Prevention, named for Mia, who cried watching the announcement on her laptop. Her parents apologized, supporting her adoption choice, their embrace healing old wounds, the air filled with forgiveness. Week 26, campus respected us, stares turning to nods. Mia attended survivor meetings, her necklace gleaming as a talisman. The Harrison Foundation lost tax-exempt status. Donors fled, more survivors emerged, their stories adding to the avalanche. Week 28, Mia packed her hospital bag with onesies, baby letters, and gifts for the adoptive parents, ready to reclaim her body, her voice strong. 3 more survivors joined the civil suit. The prosecutor eyed a plea deal, justice feeling tangible. Week 29, at a girls' night, Mia's baby kicked visibly, her belly rippling. She placed our hands on it one by one, saying, "We survived." We cried, the baby's kicks affirming our strength, the circle of friends unbreakable. Our friendship, this innocent life, proved we dismantled Derek's empire, protecting others from his harm, the victory sweet and hard won. What a ride. Loved every twist. Drop a comment if you made it.